He woke up that morning, knowing he would never see tomorrow. Not because someone told him, but because he had decided it. 50 feet underground is a crumbling city above him. A world closing in from every direction. This is not a story about a monster's triumph. This is the story of his final hours, the fear he tried to hide, the woman who stayed beside him, and the moment the most destructive era in human history finally ended. By April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler had been living underground for months. The Führerbunker, a reinforced concrete maze buried beneath the Reich Chancellery Garden in Berlin. 18 rooms, no windows, no sunlight. Outside, Soviet artillery had been shelling the city for days. The walls shook constantly. Dust fell from the ceiling like slow snow. His generals had been lying to him for weeks, feeding him phantom army numbers, movements of troops that no longer existed. But on this morning, even the lies had stopped. Berlin had days, maybe hours, left, and Hitler knew it. That morning, Hitler called his remaining staff together. Secretaries, officers, and servants, people who had served him for years. He moved down the line slowly, shaking hands one by one. His right hand trembled. It had been shaking uncontrollably for months. He hid it at his side when he could. Those who were there later described the silence as unbearable. No speeches, no fire, no ideology. Just a man, hollow-eyed and gray, saying goodbye. His personal secretary, Traudl Junge, recalled that he looked straight through her, like he was already somewhere else. And then there was Eva Braun, the woman he had kept hidden from the public for over a decade, had refused to leave. She had come to Berlin against his wishes when he told her to flee, but she said she will stay. Around midday, Hitler had his last meal. His diet had been strict and peculiar for years. He was a vegetarian who ate mostly mashed potatoes, steamed vegetables, and herbal tea. He ate quietly. Staff reported he spoke a little about his dog, a German shepherd named Blondie. But then he did something strange. He had Blondie brought in, and he personally administered a cyanide capsule to her. It was a test and didn't fully trust that his own capsules would work. He wanted to be sure. When Blondie collapsed and died in front of him, witnesses said he didn't react. He simply left the room. By early afternoon, the sounds of battle were close. Soviet forces were less than a mile from the bunker. Hitler changed into a fresh uniform. He sat with Eva one final time. Around 2:30 p.m., he wrote out his last personal documents, his political testament, and a brief note about his marriage. Because at some point the day before, April 29th at midnight, Hitler and Eva Braun had gotten married. A short ceremony, underground, no photographs. A marriage that lasted less than 40 hours. Shortly after, Hitler distributed cyanide capsules to his remaining inner circle. He apologized that he had nothing better to offer them. At approximately 3:30 in the afternoon, Hitler and Eva Braun entered his private study. The door closed. His staffs waited in the hallway. The sounds of distant artillery continued. Then, a single gunshot. They waited several minutes before anyone opened the door. Inside, Hitler was slumped on the sofa, a gunshot wound to his right temple. Eva Braun was beside him. She had taken cyanide. Her face, they said, looked almost peaceful. He had instructed that their bodies be burned in the Chancellery Garden above, so that nothing could be put on display by the Soviets. His final order was about his own disappearance. For hours, the bodies burned in the garden above. Soviet shells fell around them. Staff who remained watched from a distance. There was no funeral, no ceremony, just fire, smoke, and the ongoing collapse of the world he had built. 7 days later, Germany surrendered unconditionally. World War II in Europe was over. The man who had started the most devastating conflict in human history, who had orchestrated the systematic murder of millions, ended his life in a 50-foot underground room, afraid of what the world would do to him. His death solved nothing. It reversed nothing, but it ended something. History remembers the speeches, the rallies, the war, but very few ask the simpler question. What does it look like when a tyrant has nowhere left to run?